Hello, everyone. I'll try to use my indoor voice. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening, for taking time to participate in this community forum. Your presence here demonstrates your commitment to helping build a more just and equitable Lexington. If you don't know, my name is Whit. We're going to have the honor and pleasure of serving as a commissioner on this wonderful group, this commission. And I'm also the president of the NAACP Lexington Fayette County branch. So I've always had the pleasure of serving there. Much of my life has been dedicated to being a servant, to community engagement, helping to create opportunities that strengthen the city for everyone. And what inspired me to serve on this commission, besides my friend, the wonderful Mayor Gordon, is the simple belief in meaningful change, in listening to people, creating opportunities for every voice to be heard, and for every lived experience to be informed ahead. So we're grateful for the Marksbury family for allowing us to hold this wonderful forum here, our final one, after which we will analyze all the questions, information that have been collected from the previous commissions, and we will present them in recommendations form for the mayor and present a report later for the city. Before we begin, I'd like to provide a brief overview of the Racial Justice and Equity Commission. The commission was established in 2020 by Mayor Gordon, and it was to examine systemic inequalities, promote racial justice and equity throughout Lexington Fayette County. The commission we serve in an advisory role to the mayor, the capacity of the mayor. We work to identify the disparities and make recommendations to her to help improve policies and practices that improve outcomes for, here's the key, for all Lexingtonians, not just one particular group or groups who are in the majority, all Lexingtonians. The commission is organized into 5 working committees: health disparities, law enforcement, justice and accountability, housing and gentrification, racial equity, and education and economic opportunity. Our mission is to provide leadership, guidance, technical assistance to Lexington Fayette County urban government agencies on racial justice, equity, in order to improve the quality of life for all Lexingtonians. Our purpose tonight, this is a listening forum, listening session. This is an opportunity for you as community members to come here to share your experience, your lived experiences, your questions, things that may be heavy in your heart that you want us to know so that we can communicate through the form of recommendations. I want to emphasize the importance of this evening. It's not a Q&A, so there will be no, I'm sure we have some people who will be glad to engage in debate, but tonight will not be the night for debate. We'll take your questions. I think a part of what's going on in the world today, not just politically, is we don't take the time to sit down and listen. So we are here to listen. So whatever's on your heart, whatever's troubling in your community, we want to know so that we can try to be a part of the solution and coming up with solutions. At the completion of this forum, as I said, we will analyze the information gathered in each session throughout the city. It will be compiled into a recommendation for the mayor and for future policies, priorities, and community initiatives. Your participation tonight is very important. Be respectful as far as guidelines. We don't have a sign-up sheet today, so we're just going to kind of allow you to, you feel like in church, if you feel the Spirit, get up and speak, When you get up here, and we ask you to speak from your diaphragm, use your indoor voice. We're all family and friends here. Be respectful of one another for differing perspectives. We try to not be political. Speak from your own experiences. Allow others to finish before responding. And limit, we did have a limit to 3 minutes because we're starting a little later, but we in the previous forums we haven't been sticking to that. So if it goes a little long, someone may say cut you off a little bit. So focus on the concerns, but also on possible solutions and recommendations. In my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, or in NAACP, when people always come with complaints, I always say, what solutions do you have? So we're not the smartest people in the room. You know, we're not all privy to your lived experiences. So you may have something that would spark a light bulb for us, or the mayor or LFUCG, and be like, we never thought about that. And that may be, so if you have solutions, feel free, we're documenting that. Every voice matters, and every perspective. So at this time, I will invite the commissioners to introduce themselves. Please share your name, what you do professionally in the community, and what inspired you to serve on the Racial Justice and Equity Commission.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Monica Calleja. I'm the director and founder of Casa de la Cultura Kentucky. One of the connections with the Latino community, and we are very happy to have the opportunity to be in this table and to share what the concerns and problems that the community presents.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Early, and I'm a retiree from the Lexington Urban County Government and Fayette County Schools, and I'm a veteran, and this is my second term on the commission, and I enjoy helping people. I've been with the Urban County Government total, not counting these 4 years, 43 years, full-time and part-time.
Nice.
So I love serving the Urban County Government.
It's my fellow veteran there.
I'm Samantha Castro. I'm an urban planner here in the city, and I guess I've spent so long designing places for people that I want to get more in depth on the people side of things.
Michaela Sellers. I am a Spanish teacher. Been teaching about 22 years, and I love to serve. So I'm here because I love to serve and help people.
Yeah. My name is Elisha Mutayongwa, the Executive Director of Marafiki Center. We work with a lot of African families here in town. I think when the Commission on Social Justice invited me on the table, just looking into how much of our community needs are and how much the community is growing, and some of the recommendations, the support, and how the city is growing. So I felt propelled to come in and also sit on the table and just listen and figure out how we can bring solutions to some of the challenges we're facing together.
We're happy to have you. Also notice there are some council members in the room. If you would quickly stand and say your name, what district, so people will know.
My name is Jennifer Reynolds, and I represent the 11th District, which is where we are right now, between Harrodsburg Road and Leestown Road, mostly inside the circle towards downtown, including around Rep Arena.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councilmember Shayla Lynch. I have the honor and pleasure of serving the 2nd Council District, and that's Georgetown Road, and Newtown Pike.
Any other dignitaries would like to stand up and speak?
State Representative.
I'm State Representative Ann Gay Donworth. I represent it's kind of the northeastern quadrant of Fayette County, mostly within Manor Ward.
Nice. Well, also, we are in the midst of greatness. We're also honored to have our mayor here, Mayor Gordon, whose support has helped make these community listening sessions possible. Please join us in welcoming Mayor Gordon for a few words.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I want to first of all thank Whit, who is so active in our community in so many good ways, and we really appreciate your leadership. And to thank the commission members who said yes at one time or another that they would serve, because it is important work. And you heard the history of this back from 2020, and what I will say about that is that when we had the marches in 2020, we had up to 1,000 people marching every day. Stayed peaceful, but a lot of, for me, it was really a cry for change. That's what it was. And so from that, I thought, well, the way to have change is to get this commission up and running and see what they can do by you mentioned splitting into the different groups, areas of concern, and there were about, the first commission, there were about 70 people from the community who served. And they came out with a report, and it had 54 recommendations. And they were about all kinds of things. And so some of the real successes we've had from those recommendations were things like the mobile food market. There was a recommendation to get food to areas that had no groceries. And so that partnership, it's a huge partnership, Kroger, God's Pantry, and the city. And it still goes through the neighborhoods. And Sierra Coleman, who's in the back and who works for me, do you remember now how many, we have the data about how many stops and how many people have shopped in the market. It's a trailer. It's a lot.
People have shopped right off the top of my head, but it continues to grow every year. We're continuing to analyze the best places for it to visit. So
It's been extremely successful. The expungement clinics, the city itself did not do those until the recommendation from the commission. We said, voila. We partnered with quite a few people, and we made them expungement clinics and job fairs together. And we have now had 8 of them, I believe. And these are people who are getting jobs. They're getting their record expunged from low-level offenses, some of which have been on their record for 30 years. And because of that, they couldn't get a job. We've had just some of those really good successes, and it was all due to the work of the first commission. A lot of our sense of place work came out of that. We had changes in policing policies that came from that initial commission. Just lots of really good things for our people. And so fast forward to our current commission, and this commission was a recommendation of the original one, that we stand up a permanent commission. And so they're doing really good work. They're hearing from lots of people in the community to let us know where we still have work to do, because we know we still have work to do. And so I want to thank all of you for coming. I really appreciate it, because this is how we get feedback from you. And we cannot be in every single neighborhood, right? So we rely on the public. We want the public to give us input. So thank you for being here, and thank you all for serving. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, Mayor Gordon, for the work that you're doing in Lexington. So now we're at the point to where the most important people in the room are the people who are coming here with your concerns and possible solutions. So I will say that before I do that, I want to recognize our partner, Global Lex. If someone wants to come up here and say a few words, briefly.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aldo Gomez. I'm the Latin American Specialist for GlobalX. We are the center of engagement for the international community. Have co-workers with the African, Arabic, so everybody's welcome. So we're here. We got some goodies, and we got some information brochures. They're in different languages. We got even from Spanish, French, Swahili, Japanese, Chinese, and Arabic. So you're more than welcome if you want more information. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you for being a partner for this event. So at this time, we'd like to open the floor for members of the community. This is your opportunity to share experiences, concerns, lived experiences regarding racial justice, equity issues in Lexington. We ask you, we won't adhere to the 3-minute, because we're not full of you, but we want you to be respectful of time if someone else wants to speak. So everyone has an opportunity to participate. We don't have a microphone, so again, use your inside voice, use diaphragm. And we want to thank you, those who are coming up, for affording us the opportunity to learn from you and from your lived experiences, to keep us in check, so that we can be more responsible in responding to the community. So the floor is now open.
This is my first time being here, so anybody can just go up? Oh, okay, yes. Okay. Hello, my name is Cynthia Buckner, and I live here in Cardinal Valley. I also have a nonprofit organization called Little Red Blessing Food Box. We just opened up box number 10 on Corral Street in memory of Landon Hayes. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with him. He's a 10-year-old boy that got shot in the head at the age by the hands of his mom's boyfriend. I also worked with Landon at Ashland Elementary School, so I say he's one of my students. I'm retired from Fayette County Public Schools, did that for 25 years, about 2 years of service, turned 56 in May of 2025, and had 27 years, so I was able to retire. So I'm able to do Little Red Blessing Food Box full time. And that's what my mission is just showing God's love in a practical way with no strings attached. So my biggest thing is here in Cardinal Valley. I'm originally from the western part of Kentucky. I came here in the 90s, 91, and I lived at Creekside North. After I lived at the Creekside North, bought a house on Alexandria Drive at 1239 Alexandria Drive. I know areas go down a lot, but our area has plummeted. Everyone says that, Cardinal Valley is the worst area of Lexington right now. And it hurts me because I'm not leaving my house until they take me out to go see, after my spirit is gone. My thing is that we have a lot of mental illness going on. And like I talk to the homeless or unhoused, or I talk to the people that are on drugs. I talk to people that have the mental illness. I'm out in the community beating the pavement, trying to get some different resources. We can't make them have it. But we have been overtaken with a lot of drugs, homeless, and mental illness here. We have one lady that refuses any mental health. She sleeps on the bus stop area, and it's raining outside, and guys are in wheelchairs. They can't get in the spot because she has made that her home. And I try to talk to her name is Nikita Young. I try to talk to Miss Young about getting her some help. She doesn't want it. We have Creekside North that has just been taken over with homeless and drug activity. We have got that cleaned up a little bit just in the last week. And I've talked to Officer Barnett, and I told him we need help out here. It's like a war zone. Nobody wants to really help. The police officer says that they can't really do anything with the unhoused and stuff because the mayor doesn't want them to touch the unhoused. And I'm like, I just can't believe that. So, and I feel like you call an ace, a spade a spade. Whatever I say, I can repeat it. So I'm not gonna go behind anybody's back and say, well, I didn't say that or they didn't say that. But we just need help out here, really bad, really bad. If there's anybody that can help the unhoused, I try to get them to do different mental health things and have the homeless outreach commission people to come out and work with them, but they don't want the help. And so we can't make them get the help. So it's just really sad. The restaurants, they're scared to really call a lot for police to come because when they call, the unhoused people, cut their tires, make trouble with their employees, and their employees is their kids. And, so they don't want their kids to get hurt at 9 o'clock at night when things are going on. So a lot of people may not know this, but I'm out in the community talking. Just like now you can see, I love to talk. I talk too much. But I want to make a difference. I want Cardinal Valley back the way that it used to be. And then a lot of people want to say, well, it's because of the Latino. No, it's not the Latinos. It's not the Latinos, Hispanic, whatever. We all have to come together as one. And, people want to say bad things about Hispanic people. They will help me before anybody will. Even in the ice storms, anything that's going on, they would come and help me. They would protect me when things are going on. They're like, you want us to help you with that? I'm like, I got it. So it's not that. So I need people to stop saying that Cardinal Valley is Little Mexico and all that different stuff, because we're not. We're one people. Because when we get to heaven with the Almighty God, we're going to all be together. So we have to learn to love everybody. And I love everybody. I truly do. Before I couldn't have said that, but I know in the last 15 years, I truly love everybody. But we just need some help. Please help us get some help out here for the mental health. Miss Young, she yells for 12 to 15 hours sometimes at cars going by. It's very dangerous. She runs and, but we call, they come out, they may come out, they may not come out. So I just would like to see documentation of how many times people have called and, the police haven't shown up, because I know there's a shortage of police. I understand that, but this over here needs a little extra attention, if all possible. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Juan Canedo. I thought I would speak louder, it's a bit heavier than I should. Okay, so anyway, I am the president of the newly formed Hispanic community-based organization here in Lexington, which name is Progreso Community Center, or Centro Comunitario Progreso. And first of all, I want to thank the city in general, and I want to thank Global X, because thanks to Global X, we were able to provide English classes, and by doing that, we had a chance, an opportunity to build community. This is for Spanish-speaking people. And by interacting with community members in the Hispanic community, we were able to see that there was a need for us to be empowered. There was a need for us to have our voice to be heard, because we're voiceless and we're faceless as well. So what we want to do through this community effort is to engage with the city, work in a very positive way, not only to look at the issues, problems, or needs, but at the same time, we want to come and offer our assets, our capacity to be, continue making this city the city that it is, that the city we love. And so what I want to tell you is that Progressive Community Center primarily focused on the capacity of Hispanic people, and we want to engage with other communities. We want to know, we want y'all to know, I said y'all, I just became Southerner, so y'all to know that this is an effort that takes collective action. Social change is possible. Social change requires people to act in a very rational way. Social change requires to make sure that if we have a meeting, we must have one where the people are and at what time people are available to meet. So Progressive Community Center is Centro Comunitario Progreso, I'm going to use bilingually, is here to build the capacity of our not only the Hispanic community, but the community at large in Lexington. So we want to thank y'all again for allowing me to be here. It makes quite uniquely interesting to be the only, I'm originally from Bolivia, by the way. I was said I'm Mexican, but I'm from Bolivia originally, in South America. And it is interesting to be here and be the only one who at least has this opportunity. And I hope we could change this And next time, you would hear directly from the ones who are like me. Right, well, thank you very much.
While we're waiting for the next speaker to get courage up, I just want to remind you the mayor did speak about the Clean Slate Expungement Clinic, and he talked about the mobile market. As far as the expungement clinic, there will be one that's going to be held on August 20th at the Charles Young Center, formerly the Davis Park Work Center. So if you or someone that you know could benefit from the information of the expungement clinic, looking for work, we want to help us to spread the word to attend that. And we also encourage you to review the Commission's 2020 report. The original commission, the mayor spoke of, and their recommendations, and it is available online. It provides valuable insight to the Commission's work. Many of the recommendations that have gone before us and the recommendation that we're building on. So, and we use that to continue to help guide our work. So we encourage you to do that. Introduce myself.
Hello, my name is Derek Sellers. Originally from Memphis, Tennessee, moved to Lexington in 2019 from Atlanta, Georgia. I want to talk about rent in this city, not just in this city, but across this nation. Rent is a problem, cost of living. My oldest is looking for a place to live now, and we're just looking at different apartments, houses, townhouses, and it feels like landlords are price gouging. My middle daughter, she lives in Nashville. She has a studio apartment, and that apartment is like $1,500 for a studio apartment. Studio apartment, $1,500. It's more than my mortgage, and that is ridiculous. So here in Lexington, we've looked at some apartments, some houses, townhouses again, and we're talking about on average $1,500 for 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 900 square feet, and anything larger than that is $2,000 a month. And you're talking about spending 70% of your income on housing. How do you survive? So my suggestion would be, we should have some caps on rent, some MSRPs on rent. I don't know if the government can get involved. You can see what a landlord's costs are and put a percentage cap on it. You can't go above, 30% of what, your rent should be. Some of these guys are going up 100%. They may say their mortgage may be $500, but they're charging $2,000. And that's just unfair. So sort of like in New York City, a rent freeze or something like that, a rent cap would be a great idea. So just my thoughts.
We spent a lot of time yesterday in our meeting talking about housing, challenges here in Lexington, even some affordable housing challenges that's here, where even if you may be in the middle there where you don't qualify for benefits, just because you pass $2 or a couple of dollars, and yet you pay the same price even though you're in housing, affordable housing. So that's been a problem, and as we know, we are short of houses here, depending on how much growth and how many houses we have. So there's been a really huge concern about housing and things like this.
And just so y'all know, and you can come on up if you want to talk. Just so y'all know, as far as what we're saying about the listening session, it's not that we don't want to engage, but I'm a proponent of, like when I tell my NAACP people, every time an issue comes, they're like, oh, we got to react. I'm like, I need all the information so that I can come with an educated response. So don't take our lack of engagement or entering into debate as something that we aren't concerned about. What I'm concerned about is we want to make sure that we don't give false solutions or wrong answers or make promises that we can't keep. So that's the main reason why we're just listening to make sure that your information and your concerns are heard. So just want you to understand that it's not that we are disengaging, but, you know, people need to listen more, so.
If I could piggyback up off of that just for a moment, I don't really need to go to the stand. I just want to, because the concept is affordable
But,
housing.
yeah, they want to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they want you to, I think.
I had a few other concerns too, but this is just why he was saying that this was kind of on my list as well. Because I am a mom, a single mom, so I also too just moved back to my city. I've been kind of in 2 different towns, but this has always been my city. But you know, the concept that, again, that I just wanted to kind of take a look at, we're talking about affordable housing, but who is it affordable to? Because if we're starting at prices talking about $1,200, $1,400 at rent, you know, and that's the market cap starting price, you know, that's supposed to be affordable to what demographic of people? And so what I'm saying is I appreciate the expansion in the city, as do we all. We have a much needed, you know, space for obviously more places, to, you know, to facilitate housing. But you know, if we're looking at, again, the concept of demographics, and it's not that I'm trying to project to a certain demographic, but it's like, how are we supposed to get the rest of the city on board if some of the people within these lower margins of profit, you know, are even able to afford such a thing? So that's kind of a concept that I'm looking at. It's like, yes, we appreciate we're stabilizing new homes and buildings, and yes, but, you know, how are we going to afford it to everyone? How are we going to make it? And I get that there's a reason that there's different places for different, you know, I understand, you know, income as it goes. But we still have to understand that there's still very much a deficit for the low income housing. So where are those people going to go that can't afford the $1,400 starting point? And that was kind of one of my biggest things for today. So I just wanted to kind of mention that while I was here.
Take advantage of this. So. Well, first I just, in a way, had to say the things as a community member, as a member of the Hispanic community. But now I'm going to use the other hat I have. I'm an assistant professor at UK, and my research focuses on the reduction of cancer health disparities in general, for cervical cancer in particular. So my research focuses on the aspect of how cervical cancer as a health disparity outcome for the Hispanic community could be reduced. So what I was wondering if the commission, in terms of the specific issue of health disparities and efforts towards health equity, could provide ways to support the effort that I do as an individual basis as a researcher and as UK as an academic institution. So I look forward to seeing opportunities to share findings of my research, which specifically have been done with Hispanic women at this point, but that could change easily. But I just want to make sure that we take advantage of the fact that cervical cancer is preventable and unfortunately affects disproportionately in terms of the disease and death to mostly Hispanics and African American and other minorities. And so I look forward to, you know, wearing these two hats or work on both positions so that, again, we believe that it's important to work together so that the city, people in our city will be better. And there's nothing more interesting and unique than prevention, and cervical cancer could be prevented. So again, thank you very much. I won't say anything else, but y'all, thank you very much.
Since we can get back up there, I didn't want to take too much time, but also with my area, I'm very passionate about Gardner Valley. I just really feel like that if Miss Young was out in Chevy Chase or she was in Heartland area, she wouldn't be out there that long. They probably run her back over here to us because they want to run them over here. But our area seems like that it's just left for the dogs. And we have a lot of good things going on, like this beautiful library, Little Red Blessing food box, and things. But we have a lot of good things here, a lot of good restaurants. Some of the restaurants have been in, I think Ramirez has been in one of the magazines. So we have a lot of good things here. But a lot of people don't want to come over here. Like, I think it was Sunday before I left to go to my mom's. Up on the beautiful wall that was built by Speedway, there was all kinds of clothes and it was just everything. But I have pictures and video if you'd like to see. And I was just like, what is going on? This is, everybody's like, this is the first thing they see when they come into Lexington from the airport, or they're going to Keeneland. And it's just trash. Like Miss Young, she slept over by, it used to be Shell gas station, but I don't know what it is now. She slept over there on that concrete area. And because she has OD'd before. We thought that Miss Young had gone and seen the glory. And she was in the hospital for a while because she had OD'd over by the Chinese restaurant. And they couldn't get her going and stuff like that. And that's why I said, I love everybody. So I was out talking with the unhoused and some people that use drugs, and they was like, well, she OD'd and she died, and one lady was just having a hard time. So I was like, I'm gonna get it together to where we can have like a memorial so they can talk, and because we don't know where, we couldn't find her family or anything. But come to find out, a week or so later, there she was on that bus stop screaming and hollering. I turned my car around. I was like, Miss Young, we thought you done died and went to glory. We so glad that you're alive. I don't want anything to happen to her. I hugged her and twisted her around. And everybody that kept seeing her, we were so glad that she was, not dead. But she just needs some help. And there's so many other people out here that needs help. I'm just focusing, I see Miss Young because she's going to get hurt. Even some people say that she says to the police, here's my crack pipe. They don't arrest her. I guess because by the time they arrest her, by the time they get done with the paperwork, she's back out on the street. So I don't know why somebody can't really commit her to get some help or demand that she gets help or something, and she's a beautiful lady. But she just needs a lot of help. And then we just have, the drug, I used to call it Drive-By Davenport before it got straightened up over there a little bit on Creekside North. They had big parties, like they own the place over there. They had big parties, they blocked the sidewalk, and they was doing a celebration for somebody else, Ghost, that OD'd. One of the guys' name is Ghost, and he OD'd, and he died. So he did go to see glory. And so they was having a balloon release and all that stuff, but that's not their property to do that. And, but I just call it Drive-By Davenport because you can drive up there, get whatever you want, keep on going. Drive up there, get whatever you want. Now it's a little better because they're not on the sidewalk. But that's how much help we need. We need some serious help out here. And I talked to councilwoman, sent her pictures. I'm begging, I'm on Facebook. Mayor, call me. We need some help. We need really some help out here. They say, I'm a snitch, I'm a narc, whatever. I just want the area great. If we can find something to help these unhoused people and people that's on drugs, I'd stay here in the community. But you can't lay out our property value. I own my home. My property value goes down, but my taxes still go up. So, with people laying out on the street, bent over, because whatever that one drug is, it makes them freeze and then they just fall over. It's just a lot of that going on. And We just really, really need some help. If other people in my neighborhood is here, you can speak on it, because I guess I may be the only one, but you know the calls that you get, and and I know they have done some arrests, but arrest and then coming back out and doing the same thing is not helping us. So please, please, somebody help us, because we really need help, and I want my area to be cleaned up. I love Cardinal Valley. Like I said, I've been in Lexington for 35 years now, and it has went down so bad. And so many people in the houses say, well, I'm gonna move out because, you know, all of these Hispanics that took over, and all of the drug dealers and all this different stuff. I said, we gotta get out and beat the pavement. You gotta talk to people. You gotta get to know people. Just because of the color of your skin is not the way to be. And I'm not sure, but I don't think the Almighty God, I know that the Almighty God doesn't like that. And how are you going to get into heaven if you don't want to live by somebody because of the color of their skin or because they speak a different language? We all got to get along, and we all got to love each other and still live in the same area. Because I'm not going anywhere from over here. And I'm glad I got the information to come tonight, because I didn't know I was going to be able to talk, but I'm glad I am, because I've been trying to get my voice out. And nobody's hearing me. Nobody's hearing me. When I knew the mayor was coming, I was so happy, because nobody is hearing. You know, we got a group that we're on Facebook. It's called Mind Your Business Group, because they tell us to mind our business, because we don't want people parking in the yard. We don't want all this different stuff going on. Because we don't want the unhoused just sleeping all over the neighborhood, because we don't want these different things. But in your area, Mayor, would you let that happen? Would they sleep on the restaurant up there? Would they lay on the intersection way? It wouldn't happen. Or would it happen in your area or your area? Would it be there? No, it wouldn't. And even one guy said, well, if somebody out in, I can't get East and West End, would have said, hey, to the police, I got crack pipe, they're gonna pull them over and get them and arrest them and stuff. So they wouldn't let them be like that in different parts of Lexington. And I'm not trying to throw no blame or anything. I'm compassionate about the unhoused. I love everybody, everybody. And that's what Little Red Blessing Food Box is about, showing God's love in a practical way with no strings attached. But when people won't get the resources or take them, then we're in the bad. I don't know what to do, because I don't have that type of thing. But we're just in the bad. We're in a bad place right now. And I talk to the unhoused people. I go out. I give out water, give out juice, and stuff. But people make such a difference. Because I have an incident. I wish the guy would have came tonight, because I didn't know to tell him. He's a Hispanic guy that always donates these little fruit cups and juices to me, because he works in the hospital. So when all the stuff was going on Creekside North, and him and his Hispanic friends was on the bridge, the police walked all the way past all the stuff that's going on drive-by Davenport, as I call it. Oh, my time is up.
A couple things to remind. So, like I mentioned, the different committees we have. So, if you have issues around health disparity, law enforcement, justice and accountability, housing and gentrification, about that, education, economic opportunities, feel free to espouse on that. And I also like to welcome young people. A lot of times, I'm of the belief that we have to create spaces for younger voices who are going to be the heirs of that. And so what we do is up to them to make it better. So if you have some concerns that you hear about in your school or whatever, we would love to hear about it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Ann Donworth. I'm one of the state reps. I was not intending to speak, but as you all have been talking about some of the housing issues specifically, I want other people, as you all are recapping, to keep the state legislation in mind as well. Now, obviously, the city is working and doing everything possible to try to address housing shortages, affordable housing, housing affordability, everything in between. A lot of it is also set by policies at the state level. We've had a housing task force at the state level for the last 2 years, and then very little has actually come out of that in the last couple of years. One of the pieces of legislation that I think will be proposed again this year, which will specifically help in the Cardinal Valley community, is to put a limit on venture capital groups and when they are able to come in and purchase properties on the market, to say that it has to be on the market for, I think it's 60 days before they would have the opportunity to come in and to use it as an investment, so that we don't have the people out of area who are looking at it purely as how much money can we squeeze out of our community. So there are some policy groups, and so for the reason I wanted to share this is because I want you all to be thinking. Obviously, your task is to look to the mayor's office and council, but don't forget that there are state level policy implications in this as well. And so just keep it all in big picture mind as we move forward. So that's it. Thanks.
Just to piggyback on my friend there, our politicians work for us. But if you don't lend your voice, if you don't write letters to your congressman, to your state representatives, if you don't try to visit the mayor and her staff to talk about these issues, a lot of times they don't, in your mind, it may not seem as important, but a lot of times people aren't speaking up on it. So, petition, write to politicians. You have wonderful groups, like my friend John Kennedy right there. Wonderful groups that are doing things in the community. Also think of trying to partner with some of those groups, especially as a community person, because sometimes a larger entity can make a lot more noise than you. But as this young lady says, we have to get out to the community to do that. So just remember, in order for your voices to be heard, this is why we're here. But write to state legislators and people like that too, because we want everybody to hear the concerns. So.
And on that note, I have to leave, sorry.
Again, think about the different committees, their issues. I think at the last one there were several people talking about police accountability and law enforcement. So just think about the committees. No concern is too small. We are literally here. You may have solutions that no one else has ever thought about. And people who are talking about their issues, if you might have a solution that you think the mayor would like to hear or that can be used, feel free to say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Like I said, we're here to listen, we're here to learn. I thought you was about to get up, young man.
We can learn from you.
Give you a few more minutes to, get your courage up. Look like you want to say something.
Talking to me? Oh, I didn't have anything.
Okay.
Contribute. No, thank you.
We don't want to keep you here too long, but we'll give you a few more minutes in case you have some more questions come up.
She said you had more issues you want to talk about?
Yeah, you said you had other issues.
Come on
They
up.
were sure. That's what we
I know you talked about some of it at the last one.
I was just kind of like brainstorming in my head before I tried to come back up here in full, but yeah, just a couple of concerns that I was just generally thinking of, just the implementations of a few things. Sorry, my mind went, I was kind of racing back there while I was sitting there, and I apologize for the delay. It's just I look at the city as a whole because I said I've been here since the 4th grade. You know, this is home to me. So I've watched it grow. I've watched it develop over the years, starting out in Athens and seeing all this stuff come to pass and come to life. And, you know, just seeing the city transformed as a whole, it is a beautiful thing. It really is. And I think, still, again, my mind is just kind of looking at the integrations of how we break down, you know, growth. So when we start looking at the expansion of the city from an outer perspective, again, we are referring to housing, we are referring to certain things in terms of building and expansion in those terms. But, you know, how does that affect, you know, I want to say the bottom line in economics and, you know, demographics and everything in between, you know. So I'm just taking a look at how it's like, and then the other thing that I was really thinking is more like the question in my mind is really how can we implement the things? Yeah, we could come here, we can show up, we can give the information, but if this is just a, you know, facade for making it look like an appearance to try to promote change instead of actually implementing the change, I'm not a part of that. I want to be a part of the process that we can actually take a look at what's going on, make sure somebody's accountable for what's being spoken in these meetings, and then taking it forward. And I know that I'm sure what you all are delegated for, I'm sure. But it's just the more so concern of, you know, I don't want to just be a voice and an echo that drifts off. This is the last that I'm aware of, you know, of these meetings. And so what happens after this? What's the game plan from here? And how can we stay connected with these meetings and every process in between to where we can kind of feel connected as a community? Because I feel like if we continue to show up in these spaces with these thoughts in mind, considering one another, you know, how can we grow and continue to build this right here, this racial diversity, equity into something bigger, something better. So you want to be connected to your street. I want to be connected to my street. I'm Tate's Creek for life. That's the side of me that I grew up on, but it's not the side that I want to live on now. And see, those are the things as an adult, you know, when we start to look at housing, and we're talking about our forever home. So this is how it all kind of interjects and kind of reflects back in my own personal life. So it's like, this is the hood I grew up in. Tate's Creek is the heart of me. But at the end of the day, I see, again, we're dealing with the Falcon Crest issues, we're dealing with the violence issues, we're dealing with the ongoing issues that are forcing these communities in these small spaces. So again, we're talking about the demographics in full because it always comes back to the housing. That's the bottom line. So if we're establishing these places that the poor people can't afford, great, we'll have the other people move out. So now we have all these other places that are established for the lower demographic, lower economic status region people. So now we're basically forcing all these spaces for the certain demographics to be in certain locations. And so yes, it is kind of a certain, you know, deal with what you may, but it is a certain bias to the community because now you're kind of putting these communities in places, and so you're kind of contaminating or controlling, you know, the disease of being poor, right? Because that's how we look at it, right? If we put it in perspective, that's what we're doing. Got to keep people in their place, right? So it's just like, you know, just looking how we can actually start to make change that becomes effective in the overall sense of time. This is not a show up and be seen. How can we be heard? How can we put our voices to use? And even if we ourselves, ma'am, have to start walking the communities, again, it has to start somewhere, right? Each one teach one so each one can reach one, but how can we do that if we just sit at home on our phone, right? So we have to start somewhere. So I would like my own personal self for the question that I'm gonna have lingering after today. Again, if we are doing this and calling this the racial economic equality, whatever you wanna call it, if this is now the umbrella that we're focusing on, what are we doing after this? And who's accountable in full to say, hey, let's make sure we're addressing the community's concerns and following through with that so it doesn't just become something on paper. Because change is never going to happen if it's just a thought in your mind and if it's never an action that's implemented in time. Peace, love, and light.
Did you have something to say?
Oh, we're going to recruit her.
Oh.
So as, just as, at the completion of this, we're taking all the information gathered from all the community forums. The information is going to be analyzed. Our commission is going to meet, make, concrete recommendations. Our job is we don't have any policy-making power. Our job is simply, this is what the community wants, this is what we need, or even amongst ourselves. We were talking in our meeting yesterday about some recommendations that we're thinking of too, and then we present that to the mayor, to council. Your responsibility as a community person is just to make sure you follow up with the mayor's office, LFUCG, stay online, all of this information, the reports or whatever, going to be online, and just don't give up and don't take no for an answer. But again, it requires all of us galvanizing together, all of us looking beyond, race, our economic stature to come up with answers. And just remember, solutions are a good thing. If you have solutions, even after this forum, feel free to get in touch with Sierra. Feel free to get in touch with LFUCG. Feel free to get in touch with the commission. We don't have all the answers, but we are listening. And like I said, we will make recommendations to the mayor's office. And then from there, mayor and council will make the determination. Some things, recommendations, even that commission make aren't quite as feasible because they require, going across, departments, judicial or whatever. So some things we can't affect, but we will.
I live here in the neighborhood. I didn't know this was the last one. I gotta go, but I would like to say something.
Yeah, come on up. Mm-hmm.
I'm Nestor Gomez. I work for FCPS, but I live also here on Devonport. I also collaborate with One Lexington. I did not come prepared. I didn't know that this was going on, and when I heard that this was the last time, I was like, oh my gosh, should I say something or not? But I'll keep it very simple. So I work with a lot of youth. Just because you don't see a lot of Latino families here, it doesn't mean that they are not engaged, right? I live on Devonport. I'm an immigrant myself. I came here about 15 years ago. Had to learn the language. It was really scary for me to stand up in front of a lot of people and speak as well. But by the Lord's grace, He allowed me to learn the language quickly. So, a few things. Right now, I work at Dunbar, and the demographics from our schools really represent. You can really look at government data to determine how many Latinos live in certain neighborhoods. Because when you go and you add your race, there is no Hispanic or Latino race, right? You have to be your box between like Black, White, Asian Pacific, from like, Native American, but there is no Hispanic, there is no Latino race. So one place where you can go and see how many Hispanics or how many people from the Latino community actually live in one area is by looking at the data from our schools, okay? That said, just to paint a quick picture, Dunbar has about 1,700 students right now. Our enrollment has gone down, and there are a lot of reasons for that. One being housing. A lot of people from the Latino community, they used to live here in Cardinal Valley within the 11th district. Dunbar goes from Firebrook, Belmont, all the way down to Georgetown Street, and the very last apartment complex that you see when you go on your way to Red State Barbecue, that's also covered by Dunbar, right? So it's huge, it's humongous. I mean, even like people that work there don't realize how big the area that we cover is, right? So Dunbar has evolved now. 20 years ago, we had about 10%, about 5% of our population were Hispanics, right? Now we're 36%. That means that I have 600 families that are Spanish-speaking families, right? Half of them are the students who were born here. The other half are newcomers. They've been here 10 years or less. Now, our enrollment is going down, and is going down mainly within the immigrant community. One huge reason for that is how many families are having to move from this neighborhood. I bought a house at the end of Devonport because I love to walk to Aguascalientes. My kids walk to Ramirez all the time with Jennifer's son. And so in the past 12 months, we have had a lot of buildings that have been condemned, right? Through my work with One Lexington, I'm realizing that housing is probably the #1 contributor to gun violence in our city. Why? Because a lot of people that, are into no good, whenever they see an abandoned building or unit, they go and they establish themselves there, right? We have had to go and kick people out, or have had to go and get information from the property managers so that they can go call the cops and they can kick these people out, right? So we've done pretty good in that regard. What I think is a struggle still is that whenever you have a demographic or a population that is in a vulnerable space, let's say stateless, without documents, they are easy prey, right? So predators will come and will try to take advantage of them. In this case, who are they? Landlords. I have 600 families, and in my job at Dunbar, a lot of the work that I have to do has to do with translating, a lot of times, leases for them, communicating with landlords so that we can communicate, hey, I'll give you another example really quick. Prior to probably last year, when a Latino family without documents came to our neighborhood, right, and they tried to rent an apartment unit, the landlord would say, hey, within this, with this amount, $1,000, right, you're going to be able to cover the cost of the property, and all 3 paying utilities are going to be included: gas, electric, and water, right? So as of the past 16, 18 months, right, we have seen that landlords are saying, okay, here is the amount, gas and water will be included, but electricity is not. Why? Because most of the generators are working in emergency mode. So electric bills are humongous. I mean, I've seen them. Right now, if you go and you try to rent a 2 apartment unit, here, you name it. I mean, out of the high volume, exaggerated volume of multi-units that we have in this neighborhood, and we don't see in other areas of the city, other than Wood Hill or Wimburn or Tate's Creek, right? So because a lot of the electricity is working with the emergency thermostat, those electric bills are higher than my house.
Mine too.
Yeah, they are like $350. I've seen it. I mean, I can show you pictures. So that's one problem, right? How can we, have you all seen the map for the code enforcement violations? Do you all know there is a map for that? So you can go to the map and you can see everything. So it's very transparent. I'm a pastor as well. When people say, hey, where should we go and evangelize? Look at that map, and it's going to tell you where people are hurting, right? Because the landlords are taking advantage of them. They're probably struggling to pay their bills. Okay, so that's one example. Another example, sorry, I promise I'm going to be, the other example is that the solution to that, in my opinion, would be, can we become more transparent? Can we have a map, just like the code enforcement map, that says this apartment unit building. I can do that because I'm literate. I can get in the computer, I can look for that, but my neighbors can't do that, right? So we need to know who is the owner of that building, who is the property manager for that specific building, so that they can be held accountable. And even, if you are renting to the general public, then post how much you are renting those units for, okay? So that's one. The other thing is that if we could have also a map, a virtual map from the city on the city's website that tells us how many rehab homes we have in our neighborhood. On my street, I have 2. I don't think there is another street where there are 2 homes, 2 different homes. My home has 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. If I wanted, I could turn that into a rehab house, and I could get more money from insurance companies than what I could get from tenants, right? So, yeah, let me preach a little bit more. So there are 2 homes, one on Devonport and one on Alexandria Drive, and oh my gosh, the other one right there is the little one. But so there are 3 within 0.1 miles from each other. And what that creates is a lot of traffic from people that are up to no good. We've seen them at the park, like just consuming their drugs, right? That's another one. The other one is Dunbar doesn't have a public bus line. 52% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. 52%. That's what, like almost 1,000 kids. And how can families get there? Now, we used to have one, but because it wasn't being utilized, I think we closed it. I'm not very familiar with that story. Would love to have somebody looking more into that. Because whether that's used or not, we need to have a public bus that goes from here to Dunbar so our kids can go and enjoy of all the extracurricular activities that we have to offer.
I'm not even gonna, just real quick, good evening. I'm just gonna say my name is Tanya Walker, and we're gonna leave it at that. I just wanted to add to this affordable housing conversation real quick, because I feel like it's important. The more we continue to build quote unquote affordable housing, we need to make sure that we're building some kind of greenery area for these young people to have some place to play, have something to do. I guess I will say I'm with One Lexington, and what I'm finding is that it hit me when Nestor was back there talking. We have a lot of our teenagers that don't have anything to do. They'll say they can't throw the football, they can't do anything because there's no place to play. So if we're going to continue to build these multi-units, on record I wanted to say we've got to build a place for our young people to have something to do in the place that they live, so that they're not terrorizing their neighbors. Thank you.
Just so you know, a lot of the concerns you're speaking of, we were actually talking about some of those in our meeting yesterday. As far as the transportation, the green space, we were talking about the code enforcement. So we're thinking along the same things as you. I wanted to give you all a little time to kind of visit with the mayor and visit with each other, but we're kind of running over. So I just really want to say thank you for coming. Your experience, your concerns, your recommendations will be shared. We're going to analyze all the data. We're going to put a report together, present recommendations for the mayor. But most of all, I want to thank you all for trusting us with your stories, your vulnerability in coming here. Keep the fight together to continue dialogue. We hope that we can make a difference. Thank you all for coming. If you have time after it, feel free to talk to people from One Lexington, Global X, the mayor, as you're out. And on behalf of the mayor's office, the LFUCG, and the commission, we thank you all, and we hope you have a nice evening.